Keith Azopardi packed several punches in his first budget speech as leader of the opposition.
This has been a budget that is bad for business. It presents nothing much for business other than higher tax. It's bad for ordinary families, although there are some allowances that I'll deal with in my contribution. It's a budget without direction, with no strategy, at the worst time in our history. This is a budget without hope for those left behind over 10 years.
On Brexit, he raised concerns over a lack of progress in treaty negotiations over Gibraltar, now that the UK and EU had already sealed their own post-Brexit deal.
Even though Britain got a deal at the end of last year, 2020, there's been a massive loss of momentum in trying to achieve a deal for Gibraltar. I've said so publicly, and I've said it often enough, I'll repeat it in this House. There have been a number of opportunities lost by the government. They had an opportunity to embark on a clear strategy that delivered results in the withdrawal agreement. When other people obtained permanent benefits, we could have obtained permanent and enduring benefits for the people of Gibraltar.
Keith Azopardi reflected on the impact of the COVID pandemic in terms of loss of lives and the economy. However, he said the precarious state of the government's finances is also down to years of rampant, recurrent and capital expenditure, adding there is now close to £1 billion of gross off-book debt.
When the COVID pandemic arrived, we already had 1.45 billion gross debt. They'd already tripled gross debt instead of halving it, as they said. The net debt figure is unreal. So when he says he's got these percentages, the net debt figure compared to the percentage of GDP is completely unreal, because it doesn't take account of the hundreds of millions of indirect net debt hidden away from public view. If that true picture, Mr. Speaker, were known, instead of the artificial figures presented today, it would be far worse. Again, all that was before COVID.
On the news that trusted Novus Bank would be paying for the £3.7 million Midtown Park, Mr. Azopardi said the government was lucky to have found someone to bail it out of its economic recklessness. Keith Azopardi spent considerable time defending the GSD's own record in government, whilst highlighting the GSLP Liberal manifesto commitments that had failed to materialise, such as an 18% tax rate and affordable housing by the end of this year. Keith Azopardi said the government should be looking at efficiencies, control of waste, abuse and corruption, and he said there should be real visibility on the economy and actual debt. He said this budget had delivered nothing for business and warned the social insurance price hikes will hit those that can ill afford it, whilst also discouraging job creation. Mr. Azopardi ended his speech with a swipe at Fabian Picardo, saying he was once the future, but that was a false dawn. Now he says people can't wait for him to be the past.